Hello, hello. Let's see. I'm just checking my audio setup because I always have trouble with the audio at the beginning of the stream. Okay, let's see. Hello, hello. Let me just double check. Can anyone hear me clearly? Any echoes? I know there's a delay in the stream that I have put in just because the 4K can get a little intensive with the bandwidth. Let's see. Maybe I put too much of a... I can hear you. Awesome. Thank you. I needed that. Awesome. Okay, wow. That's a huge lag. I mean, I put in a huge delay. I wonder if I can fix that. I guess I can't change the settings anymore. Oh well. Okay, that's all right. Welcome everyone. Okay, if you hear echo, just let me know. But thank you, Heart Sobs, for letting me know my audio is working. Flaming Burrito, I'm glad you can make it. Broken Ghost, welcome, welcome. Well, today we're gonna go over how to export your Houdini rigged character from Houdini into Unreal Engine and make it a playable character. This tree is, we're going to start off with the banana first. The banana rig is a lot easier to work with. And then this tree rig is it was so hard to get transferred into Unreal Engine. So I'm going to save it for last. If we have time at the end, I'm going to go over this one because this one's a beast. This one has a lot of children. All the bananas are actually children bone captures on the tips of the branches. So Unreal Engine didn't really like that. It had to be in a very specific way for Unreal Engine to like the tree rig. But the banana rig was very straightforward, so that was really nice. So this is the little guy that we're going to be creating. I love this walk. The walk, the animations are created in Houdini as well. So they're procedurally created. No need of manual keyframing. I literally hate manual keyframing, so I try not to avoid it as much as possible. Now this one doesn't really have a jump animation, but in the end, if we have time, we can add that in too. So I don't really have a specific jump animation, but I do have several banana animations that we can use as a jump. So the main point is to show you the integration process between Houdini and Unreal Engine. Now we're not going to be creating the banana or the rig and I'm skinning it just because I already did that, and that's going to be a focus of another video. This one's focusing mainly on the integration process between the two softwares. So let's go to the banana rig. Now the three animations we have available, they're all procedurally created. Is this weird walking one? This idle shake, which is literally just, I think, a couple of sine and cosines, just shaking it. And this peeling one, Oh, the peeling ones down here. This one was fun to create. Houdini has improved their animation editor a lot over time. I don't even know when they snuck this in. Let's see, where's the animation editor? Here. So there are a couple of keyframes. I didn't, but it's mostly posing between, so this is the pose. This is the peeling pose. And then this is just like, let me drop down another skeleton. Blend. So the procedural keyframing sounds mega interesting. I love it too. I love procedural animation in Houdini. It beats manual keyframing a lot. Like I absolutely hate that. But a couple of keyframes is necessary. So this is literally posing from this rest position. Okay, sorry. I connected the wrong one. This one. This one, rest, and here. So the only two keyframes. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 keyframes, but it's only alternating between the rest and then the peeling. And then I used this animation editor. So I'm gonna stretch it so it fits on the whole screen. And it's adjusting the weight. Put the render flag on this guy. Connect this back. Okay. Now we're in business. So it's literally adjusting between the rest position and timing it with the peeling effect so that it looks a little bit more natural, or it looks like it's shooting something out. The goal was to shoot something out, but yeah, I haven't figured out Nigeria yet in Unreal Engine. I was hoping to put a crowd of bananas in Unreal Engine and have them all shoot out stuff, but I would need the Nigeria system to efficiently spawn stuff like that. The stream is gonna be bananas. Yes, it will be Flaming Burrito. It will be bananas. Heart sobs. I had to manually rig something last month and it was rough. I don't rig much, but took too long. Yes, rigging does take a while. In KineFX with Houdini, because I've gotten so used to it, it's a lot faster. There's so many, if you can get used to KineFX, there's so many tricks that you can use for skinning, and you won't have to worry. Like, rigging will seem like a breeze after that. But I've done so many rigging videos, so this one's gonna focus on transferring the custom character rig into Unreal Engine. But at the end of the stream, if we have time, I can go over how I rigged this, procedurally rigged this banana. So no manual rigging. Okay. Let me just open Unreal Engine. So this is the one that I have working already. It's already in here. So we're going to start. I just created a new Unreal Engine project. So we're just going to work with that. So here's a brand new one. Just straight out of the box. I literally created it 5 minutes ago. There's nothing in here except for the starter kit. And the ray tracing was turned on. So those are the only two things added. It doesn't even have the third-person character blueprint. So this is really fresh. Now, let's start off with exporting this banana rig first. Flaming Burrito. Awesome. I was just starting to look into getting rigs into UE. Yes. This is going to be so handy, especially if you're trying to make a game. This technique I really enjoyed. So let me just share to you how I have this banana set up first, really briefly. This is this skeleton. So it looks, sorry, I thought that was a visualize rig. Okay, so this is the skeleton. And this is the procedural way of capturing all, skinning it, procedural skinning it, basically, onto the peels of the banana. So this is the mesh that we're going to need. This mesh is the one that you need to export into Unreal Engine, not your original mesh, not the one that you modeled with. So this is the one that I modeled with. The only difference is that this one doesn't have any bone capture weights, and that's what you really need. What Houdini calls it bone capture weights, but in the rest of the world, I think it's called weights. It's weight painting, but there's no weight painting. Well, there is, but you know, we're not going to do weight painting. This is procedural painting, I guess. In Houdini, they call it bone capture weights. So this one, if I click over here, you can see that there's bone capture weights. Oh, I should load up my little program. My little arrow program. I hope this works. It wasn't working last time. Okay, nice. Okay, so it's loading up the... sorry, this mesh, this geometry has the bone capture weights because I'm actually skinning it. Where is the skeleton, you might ask? It's actually this one. It's being imported here, but it's being imported one peel at a time. So you can see this one limb at a time, which is a single banana peel in this case. And I have this for loop. It's going through each banana peel and then finding the matching skeleton limb peel. And then it's capturing it using this very handy joint capture by harmonic. So this will do most of the heavy lifting for you. This automatically does that whole thing. If you look under the hood, you'll see the old-fashioned way of doing it. I mean, before we had this node, you had to do it manually. You had to set up the set up the tet mesh. You had to capture the tet mesh and then capture the biharmonic skeleton and link it together. It was a whole mess. This is so much more handy. It's all in one node and you just connect it. And it'll skin it for you automatically. Now we're going to transfer. So the only things we really need from Houdini and to get it into Unreal Engine is these two. The bone capture weights, which is this guy, the bone capture weights, and the skeleton, which is that guy. So these two nodes are really what we need. Okay, I'll just start from scratch. I'll just go FBX. And we want a character ROP. This is the one that we really want. So you have to be careful not to get confused by FBX ROP, because there are many different kinds of ROPs in Houdini. The one that we really want is this one, in order to get the character rig out. Later on, when we try to, when we're transferring the animation out, we will need this one. But first things first, let's get the character in first. 1 second, I'm just gonna get a drink of water. Okay. The Jane. Is it like that? So it's easier for the node to capture? There's a small delay between my stream and the chat. I'm assuming you're talking about this joint. Yes, this node makes it extremely much easier to capture. And the reason why I'm looping through the peels, each peel at a time, is to guarantee is they guarantee an accuracy so that this peel, yeah, okay, this peel will match or will capture properly to this rig, to this limb of the skeleton. So you won't get any overlaps between all the limbs because there's so many limbs. There's like, well, there's only 4 for this one. You can see 4 lines. If you don't isolate it, there's a chance of it capturing an overlapping one or one that's really close because the peels here are, okay, let me do this. Okay. So the peels here, this peel is very close. The edge is very close to the next peel. And that may cause a problem with when it's doing its bone capture with the next limb. The next limb may start to control or capture weight onto the neighboring peels. Then you're going to get chaos. So by isolating them and doing each peel at a time, it just improves the accuracy. Hopefully that answers your question. ASR 59. I guess they don't call it just weighting because it is a very broad term. Houdini uses weight attributes and some nodes have a weight parameter. This way is clear it refers to skinning. Yeah, that's true. That is true because there's so much going on in Houdini. Houdini can do so much. And I guess that is true because they want to be more clear. Bone capture weights. Then you know what you're doing. Like the name says it all. To Jane, I was referring to banana peels. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. With the for loop and the banana peels. Broken Ghost, I was thinking it's usually called skinning elsewhere. Yeah, it is. It is called, the rest of the world does call it skinning. Or weight painting. Bone capture weights is quite new. I've never heard of it. Well, I'm not a guru in rigging, but it is the first time I've ever heard of it. But it's okay, whatever, as long as it works, eh? That's the most important part. And the name's not too bad. You'll grow to love it. Cool. The delay is long. I know. I'm so sorry for that. I gotta get used to these. I'm not very fancy with this YouTube thing. I'm sorry. I can't change the parameter, the settings after the stream starts. Or at least I don't know how to. Well, anyways, let's go on. So, recap. FBX raw. So the one we want is the FBX character output. Drop this down. Now there's 3 inputs to this in order to get the character out of Houdini. First, we need the rest geometry. Now that's just the mesh. Not only any mesh, the mesh with the bone capture weights. So that would be, this guy. So we have, we have our bone capture weights here. We're going to connect it to the rest geometry. Second one is the capture pose. Really, it's just the skeleton in rest position. So let's, okay. And that would be this one over here. So I'm just going to drag this over. Connect it to the middle. And the third one is actually optional. This is for any animations that you want to, or a animation. I don't think you can pop in multiple animations. What I usually do is port in a clean rig without any animations and then export the animations afterwards. That way it's a little more organized and clean because I have multiple animations. I have to do the animation ROP anyways. So let's port this out first. I can see the comments, but let me port this out first before I forget. So I'm going to put output. I'm just going to call it banana rig. Or actually export. Let me call it live because I have so many versions that I've been practicing. It should end up exports. Okay. Banana rig. Save. So it should be this guy. Let's see the error. Warning. Missing FBX material name. Oh no. I usually forget that a lot. So what that really is, it's the material slots in UE. Now you can see this banana has UVs. I actually have material and textures for this banana, but we need to make a material slot for it because there's actually an interior and exterior one. The interior we're not really going to see. So let me just show you. Actually, yeah. Let me split it. This is probably easier. Exterior. Okay, I'll just be with the comments in just a second. Just 5. Okay, so this is the exterior. Oh, let me do 2. Is that better? 5. Okay. This is the exterior, and then this is the interior. I don't think there's much in the interior. So really, all we need to tell Houdini is, well, we need to tell Unreal Engine when we export it, which one is which material slot. We have 2 material slots. So what I want to do is just put down a wrangle. You can use an attribute create if you're more comfortable like that. Let me put down another null so it's a little bit more clear. Okay. Out banana mesh. So this guy over here, we're going to change it to primitives because the material slots are named with primitives in Houdini. It's the shop material path, this guy. So that's what we are trying to convert. Oh, this. Okay. This is what we're trying to convert. This exterior and interior. There's only 2 slots. Exterior. So it's this. It's because Unreal Engine does not recognize the shop underscore material path. And when you're creating exporting a character rig, a FBX character rig, it understands, most applications will understand the FBX underscore material underscore path, this attribute under the primitives. And I'm just going to ride off of the name. So it's just going to copy the exterior name as the material slot for the banana. So actually, I don't need this. Sorry. I don't need to separate it. Let's go material slot. So we have material slot here and here. FBX and shop. Okay. Oops. Okay. So these are the 2 that were this. So these are the 2 that we're exporting into Unreal Engine. So we got to connect this to this now. Since we want this information to go out into the ROM. And let's click this again. The warning should go away. So you can see that we have this warning here. It should go away. Hopefully. Missing FBX materials exported skipped. I thought I had it. Do I have it in the right place? FBX material shop. Swoot material name. Sorry, I made a typo. So material name. I put material path. Let me just change this. Okay. Okay, now the warning should go away when we save. Okay. Awesome. Everything doesn't work on Alive. Invalid shop material path interior ignored. Did I misspell it again? Name. Oh. You know what? I'm going to call it shop material path. I'm going to write on that. Okay. Material path. Save. That's awesome. FBX material path. Material name equals, I believe I have this right. Shop material path. Shop material. Oh my God. I'm going to kill myself. This underscore. No underscore. Okay. Let's try again. And it's still, I think I'm missing the shop material path ignored 0. I think one of them has an empty name in here. Let's shop material path. Not that I know of though. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let's see if it still works though. Alright. So it did export. I know that I'm missing a name here is what I thought the next error would be. Okay, let's see. Sorry, there's a lot of pile up of the comments. AS59. Skinning is the process of adding weights, I guess. Vertices are attracted to bones by a weight value. Yes, that is correct. Flame Burrito. I haven't rigged in Houdini for a long time. Is it mostly done at the stop level with KineFX now? The last time I did any rigging was mostly at the object level. I think I used chops for that. Yes, the old. That's been a while. The time that you're talking about when Houdini used to use chops to do the rigging, I believe that was a plugin. I've seen that plugin too. And it's mainly an automated approach to rigging. An attempt at an automated approach to rigging because it was so complex. I never got it working at the time, but I was very green with very new to Houdini at the time when that came out, that the chops version. I've never gotten that to work, but I know what you're talking about. I've only used KineFX to rig stuff in Houdini. That's the only way I've ever gotten it to work in Houdini. Do people still use chops? I don't think so. But I don't. I actually don't know what the norm. Rigging with KineFX is not as popular as Maya rigging and their auto rigging system, because Maya has in this one-click rig, but it only works for bipeds, like human characters, human-like characters. So that is the industry approach. Maya's the industry standard because they're teaching that in all the schools. KineFX is quite new in comparison to all the players out there. Jane, could you maybe create a notepad list of what things does Unreal expect, attribute weights, or probably something else that needed to work properly? It's actually just the material, because this FBX character ROP is not exclusive to Unreal Engine. This node is mainly just it should theoretically work with any software. This is really just outputting a plain character rig, stuff that you if you go online and you purchase, sorry, my throat is something. One. It's not exclusive to Unreal Engine. It is more like creating a character rig, a general character rig that is portable to anything. Theoretically, I could take this banana rig and import it into Blender, and it should work. We can actually do that. Well, maybe a little later before I get sidetracked again. I get sidetracked a lot. So it's not exclusive to Unreal Engine. And the only ones that I know of that you really need to know is the material slot that I actually just used. The material slot is one. And the other one is the name of the character. Like you need a name. So in here, I believe it goes here. S at name equals. Oh, I could just look down there. I've already done it. Okay, so peel rig. So I didn't create a name. You could go like banana or banana rig. I'll just call it banana. So this will give it a name, but I had to do it afterwards because, well, actually I didn't have to, but this would be the name of the character that would get ported in. I think I have some bad geometry in there somewhere. But it should still work. I did try this several times. Let me finish the comments. Let's see. Unreal recognizes Unreal material attribute on primitives. You need to set it for the material path of UE, but if you use the HDA in that level, you are correct, ASR59, but that I believe is only for the Houdini engine. Because I'm not using that plugin, so I'm not using the Houdini engine. I don't know if it's even turned on. It's not even installed on 5.4, so you don't see it here. And if it's installed, you should see a Houdini engine menu up here at the top of when you launch it. That it's not installed yet. That that plugin is very slow. I don't use it all that much. Let's see. The problem right now might come from the second input. Oh, that is true. It does still work though. Let's try it without it, and then let me try importing the banana rig as of currently, and then if it doesn't work, I'll connect this to the rest position. I find that fools it enough to let me export just the plain rig without an animation, which is a lot of the cases. You might not want to animate in Houdini. So technical artist. Now Houdini has Apex framework for rigging, which is really awesome. Apex is mostly for creating control rigs. I don't believe you can rig with it. You still need to use kin effects to rig it, to skin it. You use Apex to create the control rigs, and Apex has this awesome animate and scene animate node that is so awesome. It really improves the experience for animation in Houdini. If we use Olympic ROP and export, all we need attributes with still. Olympic is different. Olympic is doing a brute force, is what they used to use before all these, because back in the day, all these 3D applications never played nice with each other. They all had their own way of doing things, and whoever came up with Olympic, that's what even the big studios were actually using Olympics to transfer stuff from one application onto another, because I don't know, they might have liked the shading and material system of another application, or maybe that's what their company was all used to, but they were attracted to a certain feature in Houdini. And in order to get all these applications to work, they would brute forcely use Olympic. That's what it does. It exports everything on every single frame, every single time. So you have an enormous, huge, humongous file of just one animated scene. This is different. This FBX is character ROP is exporting just the rig. You have, if you have animation, it will be on the skeleton. So a lightweight version. It'll be a lot smaller. If we look on this guy, it is very small. It's 639 kilobytes. Now, we don't know if it's working yet. So let me just click that in. I can see all the comments, but let me progress a little bit. Let me just call it banana. Banana. Click drag. Now I do find that if you reset it to the default, that helps. Smoothing. Let me lock this. Great, created 2. Where are you? Okay. Banana. So we got the skeleton ring. And here's the 2 slots. So the exterior and the interior. Now you can see the materials blank. So it's only MTLX materials are portable to cross, they're supported by cross platforms. This is not MTLX material, so you will have to recreate it. I mean, it's created, the slot is there, but you still have to port in all the textures. So I do have PBR textures for this, which we'll create in just a second. Let me just double click the rig. So in Unreal Engine, they call it skeletal mesh, which is character rig. They just rename it. They have a fancy name for it. So this looks pretty good. It's banana. Okay, let's see the comments. If you send something. Okay. Dejan, I see. Thanks. Okay. Let's see. It's the kind of use export. You don't know where to find important attributes like UV, C, D, N. Oh, those. Well, those are very. So AS R59 says important attributes is UV, C, D, N. Yes, but those are very common. If you can see that, let's see. We'll have to import it again. Okay, let me just erase all this. Let's see. If we want to import color, I wonder if I can make mountain noise. No, on the color. Okay. Randomize is what I want. Because I want to limit it between... So the UV's transfer, that's pretty common. So we're not going to go over that. But you should be able to transfer the color. Oh, I don't need this. We're going to set it to vertices. Or let's set it to primitives. Let's see if that works. I'm not sure if it'll work with the FBX ROP. I had it working with a static mesh. So if you're transferring static mesh from Houdini into Unreal Engine, that's a different ROP. FBX ROP, that's just the plain ROP, this guy. And how do you tell the difference? This only has one input. So this is good for static mesh. Once upon a time, I had that working. Banana. And when you transfer it, there's actually a setting here. It's either on here on the or on the static mesh one, where it says import color. Vertex color replace override. Okay, so it should be imported. Let's give it a try. Or maybe I have to put it on the vertex. I can't remember if it was supposed to be on the vertex or let's put it everywhere. So vertex. And points. So it's everywhere now. Let's do it again. And the best thing about this, because I'm not changing the location of this, it's just going in the same place. It's just overwriting the file. I don't actually have to delete this every single time. Just right click and import. If you're not changing the settings. But it's not coming through. I think it's only for static mesh. I had it working before, like an older, really, really older version of Unreal Engine. But we're not going to be using textures. But it should work in some... That is not something I tested before the stream. So getting the color to transfer, color attribute to transfer from Houdini into Unreal Engine. I know I had it working once upon a time. Let me see the comments. For permanence, I think name, as this will keep the meshes separate, then yes, that is true. The name helps keep everything separate. Then shop material path for materials. Actually, I don't think Unreal Engine recognizes shop underscore material path. Not for the FBX character ROP. Not if you're using this ROP. There's so many different ROPs. So, sorry, I couldn't get this color attribute to transfer. So we're just going to ignore that. Maybe I'll do it off stream. And then when I get it working, I'll post something on the community tab. So let's just go with this for now. Well, we don't need this too. Okay. Hide that on the side. Let me move it over. Yes, you should need a name. So that's this guy. The primitive name of the rig. The name of the rig. This is basically. ASR59. If you set the as primitives, I think it'll be exported automatically promoted from. It should. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I had it working once upon a time. Same with point CD. Well, I had it on all three of them. And I did a quick test. It didn't work. That's okay. That's not the focus of this session. So we can play around with it after I finish the main topic. But you're right. I had that. I know what you're talking about. Okay, let's export this one more time. Let's go back to Unreal Engine. Let's re-import this one more time, just so I know what's in there. Double check, looks okay. Here's the this is very small. One thing is if you left click this and hold down Alt or right click, sorry, you can zoom in and out. Alt and right click. That's really handy. Okay, I'm just going to save all. And now we're going to export the procedural animations from Houdini. So this ROP was just to get the character rig out. Now we need another ROP, a different ROP. So this is the peeling effect. So when you're doing the animations, you actually don't need the geometry. So it becomes very, very light. The file becomes so much lighter. We just need the skeleton. Let me just erase this, because that was just for demo. And you can see that I already have this raw animation output because I was trying it before. But let's create it from scratch. ROP FBX animation. And we're going to connect it to this, which is the skeleton. So this bone deform is only for preview purposes. So I'm going to color it black. So if you know me, I like to color my debug nodes that are not absolutely necessary for functional purposes. They're just for viewing purposes. Those nodes will be black. So this is all you really need. Okay, I just need to know when the animation ends because I don't want to export the entire timeline. You can see here that the animation ends on frame, let's say frame 30. It actually ends on frame 26, but let's just round it up to 30 so it has a bit of pause. So in the FBX animation raw, I'm going to change this to frame range. The last one, I'm not going to 360 is not what we want because that'll export the entire timeline. Delete. I said 30, and let's give it a name. I'm going to put it in the same place. Exports, live. I'm going to call it unpeel. Banana unpeel. Or banana unpeel. BX. Now, clip name. That's the animation name. Unpeel. Just gotta hit save. This is a bit of a trial and error sometimes. There is export presets. I don't normally use this. I usually give it a try and see if the default works. If the default works, then all is good. If it doesn't, then I try the preset. If the preset doesn't work, there is another way. Sometimes you may have to add in points. Scale inheritance. So there's this attribute. Houdini deals with the scaling of the joints very differently from what how Unreal Engine does it. For them to play nice, I find that sometimes you have to play around with this parameter or attribute. What is this attribute? You might ask. I'm just going to look it up. There is a definition on the Houdini document. It's just how each joint inherits the scaling. So you might have issues like, I actually have a screenshot. Like this. Sorry, this could have been bigger. I didn't have the insight to take a better screenshot at the time. This is the banana tree. This is what I meant when I said the banana tree was incredibly hard to export out of Houdini and into Unreal. I kept on getting these scaling issues, and the scale inheritance did not fix it. Usually this would work. Usually this attribute would fix it. It's not always scaling it to 0 though. I had cases where I had like to do 1 or sometimes 2. What I usually do is just trial and error. Go through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't explain how or why, how Unreal Engine reads these or how Houdini is exporting this. Because it looks fine. It will look fine and absolutely work in Houdini, but when you export it and it looks completely different, it'll look like this in Unreal Engine. When that's the case, try different values of the scale inheritance on the skeleton and see if that works. And there is another trick, because for, like I said, it did not work for me for the tree. In that case, you have to I'm just going to quickly show you this because this drove me nuts and you may run into this problem in the future. Where is... Oh, here. So you can see that I was trying to do the scale inheritance. FBX name, clean name, banana trees, this. So you can ignore all that. This saved me. I know I have a lot of comments. I just pasted the documents in there because I was really tired of flipping back and forth. I did this a million times that night. This literally saved me. This saved the tree. And this made the tree rig import nicely into Unreal Engine properly as well. Apparently, from what I read online, this is doing the same thing as scale inheritance, zeroing it out or ignoring it, doing the 4. Like it completely cancels out the scaling on every single joint. And then you can reapply it. And in the ROP over here, I reapplied it. You can see. Oh. Okay, you can see this guy, convert to specified unit system. This will reapply the scaling. So you have to, it's, if you think about it, it's just normalizing all the scaling on every single joint. Because first, the wrangle here does this weird divide. It's really just making every single scale data or scale attribute very, very, very small to like nothing. And then here, it just reapplies the scaling system so that it aligns with Unreal Engine. Houdini is based on units. I think Unreal Engine is based on centimeters. I don't quote me on that. So that saved the banana tree, but that's only because this banana tree is very complex in comparison to the banana rig. So you ever run into those issues, try that. Let's go back to this, export the peeling. Oh, where did I put it? Export live banana on peel. Is there an error? Where did I put it? Oh, exports. Okay. Okay, there it is. Now let me check the comments. CD, I want a combination with the CD promote. I want to do a combination of Apex rigging, but it also like to use the VAT materials for some additional bells and whistles. The VAT materials? You mean the Vex materials? If you want to use the Vex materials are not exportable. They're not that's a Houdini thing. It only works with Houdini. Only MTLX materials are cross-compatible. Okay, let's create a folder in Unreal and animations. And I'm gonna pop this in, the peel. So it's gonna ask us, so be careful. This is where you have to be careful. The skeleton, we want to pick the banana rig that we import before this. In this case, this is a fresh new Unreal Engine project, so it makes it really easy. This is the only rig in the whole project. Port this in. Be sure to check animation length, exported time. That's the 30 frames. Okay, let's double click this. Okay, looks Looks okay. Now, if you want to see the bottom, because the floor is in the way, show grid, grid, grid. There was something here that you can mesh, that you can fix. That's clothing. Ah, there was here, just retarget base more. Clothing side, sorry. I remember there was something here to move this grid lower. Align the floor, this is it. Okay. So this just moves this floor down so you can see the rest of it. It has really no effect on the rig at all. It's just the viewing purposes for Unreal Engine. So you can see the bottom part of the animation. It's probably because I had this on the grid line. So if you go like this, it's overlapping the grid down here. I don't know if you can see that. It's going under the 0 mark of the y-x axis. That's this one. Okay, I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to export the rest of the animations. So there's the walking animation. So the walking. It's just rotating the things, but this one's in the wrong order. Blending animation. Max blend. Frame. Let's go 24. For some reason, this is not blending correctly. Okay. They should be rotating. But I must have did something last night while I was testing this. Max blend. Oh, I was doing a jump animation, so I tweaked this a bit. Oh, I should have made a copy of the blend animation. Okay. Well, okay, let's just, I wonder if I can fix it right now. Unmix. 0, 0, forward, backward, +1. Okay, maybe I'll fix it a little later. I gotta stop changing stuff right before I stream. Okay, so this is supposed to be the walking animation. We'll just live with this for now, and we'll just export this as is. So we'll go here, over here, 26, 24. So I'm going to change this to 24 and exports. I'm going to call it live. So we're going to export this and drop it in, choose the banana rig, import it. Oh, here it is. Okay. They're supposed to rotate, but I was trying to create a jump animation to test out the jump, and I forgot to change it back. I have one more animation to export, and I'll check the comments. It's just the idle. This one's important because we need an animation for the character to start off with, and all this does is just rock back and forth. Nothing special. So live, banana idle, export this. Idle, drop it in, choose the banana rig. Okay, double check this. Okay, I'm gonna save all. Okay, let's see what we have here. Flaming burrito. The banana animation on loop makes it look like it's stretching or exercising. Oh, that's a good idea. It could stretch on the floor, like a banana peel that's waiting to be stepped on and slipped on. I really wanted to do that with the gorilla, to have like populate the ground with a bunch of banana peels on it and have him like try to get through it without stepping on it. That would have been hilarious, but I ran out of time. That would have been a hilarious animation. Let's see. Okay, now we need to make this a playable character. So we have the rig. We have the character rig in here now. Come on. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Joints here. Animations here. So we can see the different animations that we have available. There's only 3. But we don't need retargeting. This is the best thing of this approach, because this is a character that we created from scratch in Houdini. We don't have to deal with retargeting. Retargeting is still quite easy. It's just very tedious, and the resulting outcome of the retargeted animation may not always work the way you want. There's going to be something that's off, and it's going to bug you like crazy. And then you have to tweak. There's a lot of tweaking. So retargeting, I try to avoid it. In my personal opinion, I try to avoid it just because I don't want to deal with all that. But sometimes there are animations out of the UE marketplace that you may like, and you don't want to redo everything. And for the biped characters, animations, those are pretty good. Those are retargeting, or pretty easy to retarget and tweak. But you have something bizarre like this banana peel, and you're trying to retarget this onto a biped animation, that might be a headache. Just because the rig and body type is so different. If you are retargeting something, try at least get the same number of limbs. Try to retarget a character with the same number of limbs to another one with another same number of limbs, and then try to get same body type. It makes a huge difference in the process. It makes your life a lot easier, but you may not always get that privilege. So, making this banana character playable in Unreal Engine requires a lot of click this, create that, a lot of blueprints. For me at the beginning, it was quite overwhelming. So I create this little chart. Hopefully this will help you understand the whole process a little better. I find that it's easier when you see everything on a page and you go and you see all the pieces. You can picture all the pieces in your head. So this orange part over here is the world settings. You need to apply, once you get the character in Unreal Engine, that's only a rig. One, you have to make it a playable character. They call it a pawn actor blueprint class. That's the class name. It's a blueprint. You need a blueprint for your playable character. And then you need a blueprint for the animation. And then you need a blueprint how you want the character to transition from one animation to another, which gets a little more complicated when it's jumping. But if you're walking if you're idle, so if it starts off in the idle state, like here, and you go to walking, you don't want it to just snap. You want it to slowly get up and then walk. So that's a blend. And in Unreal, they have a blend space blueprint. And there's a state machine. Now, we're not going to really use the state machine for this walking, but you still need it. Like, it needs to be there, just doesn't do anything. The state machine will come in handy for the jumping, because when you're jumping, your WASD controls, the WASD controls, which controls the character moving forward or backward, or if you have a joystick, that still applies. It's the same controls on the ground while it's walking, and in the air, it's the same control. You're still going to jump forward. It's still pressing the W or the joystick forward. So that's where the state machine comes in. It goes like, oh, okay, well, you're not going to walk in midair. It's going to look weird. So you're going to have to fly in midair or fall or jump in midair. So that's where the state machine comes in handy. But we may not get to that today. The blend space is what we're really going to get at, because it's going to blend from the idle to the walking and back. That sets up the character, makes it playable. But now we also have to put it in the level. We have to put it in the scene. So with Unreal Engine, we're going to have to set it up as a third person character. That defines how the character is playable. So the one on the right hand side is just defines what the character defines the animation of the character and how I'm trying to avoid the word playable, but how the character acts in the level. The one on the right, the third person character blueprint, is how it's playable in the level. So you have third person, you have first person view, but first person view is not very useful to us today, just because you won't need animations for this then if you're first person. And then the world settings is actually telling the level, okay, I want to use this as the gameplay for this level. Because every level, you may have a level that is using first person and another level that's using third person. So you can like set it differently. So let's get the banana in there first. And to do this, I'm going to ride off of the third person character. So if you come here, you can see that I don't have a mannequin. I don't have anything in here. You can actually come here, import add feature or content pack. I'm going to actually add it in. Now, if you create your project as a third person, this will come in automatically. Now, I created it with a completely blank Unreal Engine project. The only thing it came with was the content pack and this starter level, which has a plain grid on it. So I'll have to add this in separately. So we want the third person character blueprint. This is importing everything, like whole mannequin, playable mannequin. To minimize the work, I'm going to reuse their setup over here. I find that incredibly useful. Okay, well, after you click project, you'll see that this updates over here. So you'll see that this updates over here. That means it's finished. I don't know, they really should have like a feedback thing here. So you can just close this. Do not add it again. Well, you can. It's up to you, but just adding it once is good enough. So just close that. Now what I really need is this playable character. So if we drop this in, player start. It should, I don't think it's going to do anything. Yeah, we're still not playable because we actually have to tell the level that we want the mannequin to be playable. So that's where the world settings comes in. And this is stuck here because I have, there we go. I have the camera selected. If you want to get rid of that permanently, you have to, there's something in the project settings, but we'll do that a little later. So let's go to the world settings and make this mannequin playable first. Gameplay, let's go BP. So we want third person game mode. So this blueprint is, oh, sorry. Oh no. Okay, so it's this one over here. Is this blueprint over here? Which tells Unreal Engine how you want to control the character. Game mode. Okay. Then we're gonna unpack this, and we're gonna see blueprint underscore third person character. This is the actual mannequin. So that's the actual this dude. Now we start it out. Our character is playable. It actually spawns another one. We should get rid of this one, the one that we dropped in. The player start is what defines where the player will begin. So if you don't already have this in your level, so I'm just going to delete it. You come here and you can actually search for this player start and just click and drag this onto your viewport. Now I'm just going to drag this up. This will define where the character starts in the game. Okay. You can see that he drops from the top because I dragged the player start all the way to the top. Okay, now we're going to use this, and I'm going to duplicate this because we're going to turn him into a banana. Underscore banana. And I'm going to move this into my banana class folder. Okay. Now he does not look like a banana. But let's open it up. Now we're going to switch this. So over here, you'll see all the components that are associated with this blueprint, with this character, this playable character. What we want to change is this mesh because it's not, we're not using the mannequin, we're using the banana. So click the skeletal mesh. So click this. This is the one that we want, the rig. Come over here. And switch this out for this. So it says mesh. Let me see if I can put a box around this. Okay, so it says mesh, skeletal mesh asset. So we click this little button. It will select whatever, put this, because you can see there's a blue outline on this icon. That means it's selected. Or just click on it once if you're not sure. And then click on this little arrow and it'll switch it for whatever you have selected in the content browser. If you're not sure and you don't like that feature, you can just click and drag it. Because it does take a little bit of getting used to. Okay. Now let's compile, save, come here, and now if we play this right now, it's just going to play the mannequin character. And why is that? Because we never switched in the world settings. This is still, wow. I'm trying to make this a little bigger. Okay, that's not working. I wanted you to see the entire line of this, but that didn't work out. Okay. So here, we need to switch it up for the banana, the one that we created. Or duplicated. The one that I duplicated from the content. Starter content. So after you switch that up, now let's play this again. I think it's playing the idle. Ooh. So it is in there. It's just not doing anything right. Nope. Player start. Now, you ever get lost in the viewport? Click on the player start or something that you want to zoom back in and just right-click the viewport, press F, and it'll zoom frame back into it. So it's very similar to Houdini's viewport as well. Let's open up the banana. So we haven't fully configured this yet. All we did was switch the skeletal mesh. Now let's actually look at the viewport in the blueprint. So in the playable character blueprint, that's this here that we just switched out for this banana rig. We don't really have everything set up. We just literally switched the banana rig. There's actually, in this third person character, which is our playable character, there's a mesh component right here. And there's a viewport. So this viewport defines what it looks right off the bat when you load it in. And it's not looking too sweet. Where's our banana? It's actually in there, but it's really, really small. The scaling is completely off. I'm going to lock this and I'm going to come here. Okay, I'm just going to 100. So it's really, really small. Whatever you do right now, it doesn't really matter because we have not loaded in the correct animation blueprint, which is this guy. Which is this over here. So this is still stuck on the mannequin. So the scaling is doing something wacky right now. We need to create an animation blueprint now. That is this part, the yellow stuff over here. We need to create an animation blueprint to control all the animations. That's the idle and blend space. The idle, the walking, and then the animation blueprint will trigger the blend space. And this blend space defines what we see on the viewport. And the state machine is not really used in this session, but we still have to create it. Oops. Okay. So let's go back here. Actually, let's open the content. Oh, and an easy way to open the content browser is control space. It'll pop right up. And if you click something else, it'll just go back down. If you want to dock it, you can just click this and it'll stay on the screen. That could annoy the crap out of you though. Because it depends how much space, how much real estate you have on your monitor. Vertex and John says hi. Hey guys. So we're in the middle of putting the rig in. You've just joined at the right moment. We're almost at the exciting part, sort of. Medium exciting. So let's come here and right click this. So we want the skeletal mesh, which is the character rig. That's what they call the character rig in Unreal Engine. Right click. It took me a long time to get used to this naming system because it's so different. And what am I creating? Animation blueprint, right? This is what we need. I'm going to call it animation blueprint. So this is the naming convention in Unreal Engine. You always have some sort of abbreviation, prefix, and then an underscore, and then your own name. So we're going to go animation, banana. Okay. I'm also... Okay, I'll create the blend space a little later. Let's open this up. Animation blueprint. So this is where we need a state machine. We're not going to use it, but we still need it. Right click. So we're in the animation graph. That's one thing. Oh, I should put a box around that. So I am assuming that everyone here is new to Unreal. So that's why I'm going over this in more detail. Ugh. Okay, animation graph here. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to add a state machine. That's this guy. I'm going to call it banana states. And we'll also need a default slot. So this is just something, an initial state for it to recognize. So this is the basic setup. Now we're going to go into the banana state. And we're actually going to add a state. But we're only going to have one state. So it's really a waste of the state machine. We're just going to go walk. Oops. I wanted to move it up. Okay. Now we're only going to have one state. So later on, if we have time after near the end, what you would have a more meaningful use case of this banana state, or of this state machine, is to add another state and call it jump or whatever, like fly or swim, or depends how your character moves. So that would be this. The jump, why would you need, the jump actually requires multiple states. So it would be like land or falling, falling. Why would the jump require multiple states and not the walk? It is different because if you're walking, you're on the ground. And how I walk will always be derived. It will always come from the initial position, which is the idle. I'm either like standing there and I walk, or then when I let go of the WASD of your of the controller, the character's just gonna go into resting position again. So there's always an initial place for it to come back. It can always come back to that initial place. So all we need is that blend space. For jump, it is quite different. If I jump and I let go, the character can be falling. But I am not pressing anything on the controller. So that's where it gets a little tricky. In this case, we're not going to worry about that, but just a little 2 cents of why you would have the use case of a state machine, because this example does not do justice to the state machine. It's actually very powerful. So let's just set up this walk first. I double clicked the walk state to get into here now. So now we can create the blend space. Okay, we actually have to go back to the here. Click on the banana rig, because I never actually created it yet. That's the skeletal mesh. Create, and we actually have a blend space here. So that's a separate blueprint. I know there's a lot of blueprints. So I'm just gonna going with the traditional naming convention of UE. You want BS for blend space underscore. I'm just gonna put banana walk, because you could have multiple blend spaces. So this one needs to be a little bit more intuitive. Gonna blend space walk, double click this. Oh, let me get rid of the box. Okay. And what does this do? Once you open it up, it does nothing at the moment. But over here, okay, let me unwrap this, expand that, expand that. So this actually defines horizontal. This line over here, this chart is what we're going to be using as the blend space. It defines this line. It's like a graph. This is 0 and this is 100. If we are, okay, let's do direction. Let's give it a name. Let's give this graph some sort of names. Direction. And that's the direction. You can see that this updates right away, which is really nice. So the direction 0 to 100, that's not very useful, right? What you want is some sort of angle rotation. Okay, let's go to, and you can see here there's a minimum axis value and a maximum. So we're going to go negative 180 and the next one 180. So that's like extreme left and extreme right or whatever. So you can see the graph updates right away, like negative 180 to 180. So that defines the direction that the playable character will face. And what we're trying to do is assign animations based on these parameters. We're not predefining the rotation angle. This does not affect how the game, this does not affect the gameplay. It only defines the animation that gets triggered based on the gameplay. So this separation is really nice because now I just have to worry about the animation. Since we reused the third person character blueprint from the content pack, because I just duplicated it from the mannequin, that already has the motion defined. If I go negative 90 to 90, that doesn't, 90. Why won't it? Oh, negative 90. 90. Okay. Doing this does not affect the gameplay. It does not limit the character to 90 degrees. It just says when the character is turning 90 degrees on whatever direction, this so-and-so animation will get triggered. That's all this is doing. So I'm going to change it back to 180. The next one we want here is the speed. 0 to 100, sure, that is fine. So 0 speed to 100 speed. So you can see that the graph is updated. Speed. Here. So we have speed, and we have 0 to 100, which is... Now let's add some animations. Well, idle is 0, 0. So I just... Definitely 0... Oh... There we go. Definitely 0 speed. So I'm just going to put this right here, right? You can see the viewport updating right away. Well, that's not really helpful because you have to be in negative 180 direction to get this animation triggered. Let's give it here. Let's put it right here in the middle. We actually want this animation to get triggered in any direction as long as the speed is 0. But blend space will take care of that. So let's add in the walk for you to really see this in action. I'm going to put this a little lower so we can get triggered a little quickly during gameplay. So this is the walk animation. It's like, okay, how do I test this out though? Hold down Control and then hover over this. You can see that we can now control this crosshair. And if we hover down, we can see the transition, the blend space basically. So this is what we're going to get during gameplay. So this is the a way to debug. So here, even if we're on the extreme right, 180 degrees direction, as long as the speed is 0, the blend space will stay idle. And then if we go up, it will do this weird thing because I didn't fix the walk. That's going to bug me for a while. So that's a way to test it out. Oh, it even says right here, hold control to set the preview point. Yeah, hold down control and just hover the mouse. That's how you control that crosshair. And that does not affect the functionality whatsoever. It's just for debugging. Okay, let's save. So we have something working here. Let's go back to that blueprint, that animation blueprint. We have to hook it up. That was the whole point of that. Okay, let's see the comments. BP means blueprint. Yep, BP means blueprint. Bubble pins. Yeah, it also means bubble pins too. Blue pins. Ooh, blue pins. That sounds great. Bubble print. Oh, you guys are awesome. It reminds me of the name that Flaming Burrito gave me, Bubble Jam. So one of the ambitions I have of starting these Unreal Engine tutorials is that hopefully soon I can do some game jams. And well, I'm going to start off slow and do live devs, and then maybe, because we have such a huge advantage since we already know Houdini, we can create procedural assets like nothing. We can just set it up and it's ready to go with HDAs. We can create a sea monster with 100 limbs with a single copy to points node. Like, it's so much easier. We have a huge advantage. And then combine that with Unreal Engine's real-time rendering system, it's so powerful. We can create these awesome games. These are really unique things that you don't see. Not everyone, not the general public can do. Like, it doesn't have to be, and we can create it within a day. I mean, a game created within a day is not going to be glorious, but it will be functional. It can be functional. And then we can slowly fine tune it. So I am just getting super excited just thinking of that. And then Flaming Burrito gave me that name, Bubble Jam. I love it. That hopefully soon. Now I want to see the flying banana bird. Oh. Should I just put wings on the banana or just use the peels as a gliding system? Ooh. Oh, that's interesting. How do you usually organize your workspace in UE when you're working on your own? How many monitors do you use? I have a dual monitor setup. I usually use 2 sometimes. But the only time I use the other monitor for UE for Unreal Engine is to put the content browser in. It's quite a waste. It's to put stuff that I don't want to see all the time, but it needs to be there to remind me that I need to do something. Or sometimes if I have the Quixel, Quixel Bridge open, there's a tab, the Quixel Bridge tab open, I would put this on the other monitor, but that's a terrible, that's bad practice, because the Quixel Bridge page actually eats up a lot of GPU. Their thumbnails are so detailed. So I do not recommend that, but sometimes there's just too much going on my monitor. I can't keep track, then I throw it on to the other side. So I don't have to see it, but it's always there. I know it's always there when I need it. It's sort of that thing. Good evening, Unreal. Make me sick. Good sick or bad sick? Bubble Jam is gonna be awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited just thinking about it. Imagine all the weird games we can create. Banana peels. A game just to avoid the banana peels. That is a game in itself. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, right, blend space. So now we need to add the blend space. Let me save. So one thing you need to know about Unreal Engine, it crashes quite a bit. Although 5.4, which is the latest version of Unreal Engine, it's been pretty stable so far, ever since the last patch. So kudos to Epic Games. Nice job. But save often and save frequently. And there's two different saves in Unreal Engine. There is a save all. Just use that. Just use that. Don't confuse the crap out of yourself. Just use this. Save all. Control Shift S. Just press that. Makes life so much easier. You don't have to care about the different types of saves. Just save all. Anyways, let's put the blend space into our state machine and complete the animation blueprint before I get sidetracked again. So you can see that our blend space banana walk is right here. That's the thing with the chart. That's this guy with this. So let's go back. We can just click and drag it in, which is awesome. This is the output, so it should be on the right side, and this will be on the left side. Now let's connect this. Result. Okay. We're done. Nope. These two variables are defined by the blend space. No one else knows about this. So you have to make it available so other blueprints can actually trigger this. The blend space exists in its own little space. No pun intended. You need to be able to trigger the blend space. You need to be able to pull data from the actual playable character and then assign it to the direction and speed. Like the name sounds like it was built in out of Unreal Engine. Really, I could have called this dancing, and I don't know, moving. I don't know. I really could have called this something crazy, and it still wouldn't make a difference because that's something that you define on a chart. This is a chart that is not hooked up to anything right now. So that's something that you need to understand. That's why blend space, you can have multiple blend spaces. And this is super powerful in a way that you can control different types of animation. I know it's hard to picture right now just because we have something very simple, an idle and a walk. But keep that in mind in the future once you get used to this workflow, that you can create very unique gameplays once you understand this basics. Let me change these names back. So let's do it the right way, in the simple way the first time. Okay, so we're back here. And then, as I was saying, you need to expose these parameters out so the rest of Unreal Engine will know how to use it. Otherwise, it just lives in the blend space. So right click, promote variable. Right click, promote variable. So once you do that, you'll see that, let me get my little, you'll see that there is variables available down here, and these variables will now be accessible to any functionality or any element. I'm not sure what's the right word to use in the animation blueprint. So we're still in this animation blueprint world. We're still sitting here. Oops. Okay, yeah. We're still sitting here. We have not left this. Now, if we wanted to access these two variables in, say, the third person character, So this is the chart. If we wanted to access it in here, that is not possible yet. We are actually in here. But if you wanted to like access it over here, it is possible, but not yet. You can. That's where I wanted to get into. Like these eyes are closed. It means it's a private variable, so it's only accessible within the animation blueprint, within this yellow stuff here. The animation blueprint, the blend space, which sits within the animation blueprint, and the state machine, which is still in this space. So having said all that, what's next? Well, now we need to trigger this. So let's go into here, the event graph. So this is where we're going to start to get into a bit of it, not coding, a little blueprinting, because we still have to trigger this. There's no way around this stuff. Now, as I said a few times already. Ooh, I did not just do that. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I just gotta grab some more water. Okay. The animation blueprint only controls the animation. We need to hook up the gameplay, which is when the player, us, presses forward on the controller, or the WASD controls, which is when we press that. And we need to trigger the right blend space. The animation. Let's just stick with simple terminology first. So that's connecting whatever happens in the third person character to this animation blueprint. This animation blueprint needs to call stuff from here and ask the gameplay, are you moving? Are you going forward? Are you going left? Are you going right? Okay, if you are, I gotta play this animation, and I gotta play that animation. Okay, I gotta stop this. Like, it needs instructions. It needs to know what to do. So that's what this part is for. That's what the event graph of the animation blueprint is for. Okay, so in order to get that information, the joystick information, the gameplay information, we actually have to access the third person character. And if you remember correctly, all I did was just duplicate the third person character and renamed it to BP_banana. So we have to get that first. So let's just right click. Tab. This node system is very similar to Houdini's. Tab to get the menu. And what we want is BP_banana. That's what we want, because that's where the gameplay is. That's where the third person character gameplay is. And you're gonna see this cast to BP_banana. Now don't get messed up with ABP. So this is where the naming is very important. And don't get this BP_banana class, because this is actually the bare bones class attribute, which is a whole different story. Just get the BP banana, this one. So don't get the wrong one. And this white thing here connects to the other white thing. This actually gives us an order of operations. So this is the very first thing that is run, is executed. And then comes this over here. The white sockets or the white lines tells us the order of operations, if that makes more sense. Now this is actually getting pawn is the blueprint hierarchy class. We don't have to, if you're new to Unreal Engine, don't be too bogged down by this hierarchy naming system yet. Just know that pawn class is almost every playable character class. That's the name of a playable character. That's what they call it in Unreal Engine. So I'm going to hook this up over here. So we're turning this into this because we need to actually get something from the gameplay. So this is the gameplay. What do we actually need to get? Well, I need to know if the banana is moving forward, if I'm pressing the WASD control or on the joystick, if it's actually pressing forward. So what would that be? It was like, okay, get velocity. There's so much. There's actually a get velocity on the bottom. So we can just grab this. I don't know what everything else does. There's so many things here that you can get. You can get actor location. So I've assumed this is like the world space location. And there's a local space location. The rotation. We actually need this. The get actor rotation. Because we need the direction as well. But let's get the velocity first. Let's get the velocity and hook up the speed. Because our blend space has speed and direction. So let's grab the velocity. Well, velocity is a vector. Vectors have magnitudes and a scalar value. So it has a direction. We technically can get the direction from the velocity. And it has a scalar value. The scalar value is the speed. Fast, slow. That's what we need. That's what we really need. So in Houdini, you normally would just get magnitude. But I think I tried. This was the first thing I tried to magnitude, and it didn't show up anything. But it did have a vector length. So vector length is the same thing as getting magnitude. It's the length of a vector, which is the scalar value, which is the speed of the velocity. How fast is the velocity? I don't care about the direction. I only want to know how fast you are running or moving. And that is speed. Now, the whole point of this whole train wreck, the whole point of this train is to set the blend space. Because the blend space defines what animation to play depending on the speed and direction. So we actually have to set the speed and direction. In here, in the walk state, if you remember this guy, just 2 minutes ago, we had promoted the direction and we promoted the speed. And we got these two variables. These two variables will define what animation the blend space will display. So these two variables are the key to what the animation blend space will be playing. Let me go back to the graph. Event graph over here. So that is what we have to control. So we have to hook up this velocity to the speed. Set speed. Now remember, this speed is actually the blend space speed. The speed that we defined in the blend space. So we're going to get the value from the playable character and set it to our blend space speed. And don't forget the white socket. Otherwise, it won't execute. This tells it to execute. Because it needs an order of operations. So let's just save this. I know we still have the direction, but let's save it. It's not just it's not just enough to save it. Just to remind you, this is a perfect time to show you. Now I saved. You still need to compile. You can see this question mark. You have to compile it, and then you'll get a nice little animation. This is very appreciative to let you know that it's executing. This is very nice. Let's go back in here and let's play our game and see if it does anything. Nope, it doesn't do anything, right? Why is that? Well, let's go back to the blueprint. And let's take a look at what we have here. Oops. Okay. Over here. Now, this is not the right animation blueprint. Remember, we called it. It's even written right here. We called it ABP, animation blueprint _ banana. That's ours. Because I duplicated the one from the mannequin, so it's replicating, it's pulling everything from the mannequin in. But it simplifies the steps a lot. So you can see it's a lot of steps. So this was really nice. It was a lot easier to do it this way, to duplicate from mannequin. But we need to hook this up to our banana. So ABP and _ banana. Oh, sorry. The box is right underlining it. Okay. ABP _ banana. So this is the one, this is ours. This is what we want. Choose this. And you can see the scaling is off again. So let's just reset this. Okay. There you go. You can see that after you reset the scaling, it's pulling the scale from the actual rig, the correct blueprint rig now. So it's the right scaling. It's the wrong direction though, because it's facing the camera. The butt of the banana is facing the camera. I don't know if that's correct. So let's turn this around. That's not the right one. I think it's this one then. 0 or not. Okay, let's just use the controls here. That would be the WER. So I want to rotate. So let's go R or E. Okay. Rotate. W to translate. And what we want is to be in this capsule. Now, what is this capsule? This is actually the collision capsule. It will detect when the banana bumps into other things that we're not really going to use in this session, but it's nice to, I should put a box around this. Okay, so we can just have it almost the same size. I don't actually know how to move it lower. I don't think we should use a capsule component for this, but because we're not going to be using the collision in this video, I think I should use a different collision type. There are many. If you come here and go like collision, they have different types of collision geometry. A sphere probably would be best, but I don't want to change anything else, especially not live. But if you want to do that, you can, to get something more accurate, because this is not even close. It should be wrapping around your geometry as close as possible. Okay, so all I really wanted to do was hook up the animation blueprint. Let's save and compile. Always compile. And save all. Okay, let's give this a try. Let's just play it. Okay, we have it walking, sort of. It's actually, that was supposed to be jump animation. Like I said, I should really fix that. I had tweaked it last night just to do the jumping, and it breaks everything. Okay, let's take a look at the comments. Bad sick. Oh, Drew VFX. Yeah, Unreal Engine takes a bit of getting used to, just as we did with Houdini at the beginning. Try to remember that first time when we opened up Houdini. It was quite overwhelming, and then we get used to it. You learn to love it. It's actually very powerful. Hopefully this chart I created will help you a little bit and understand the process of this whole thing. John Payne, what GPU are you using with Unreal? I am using a 4090. RTX 4090. You don't have to. I do have an this, I believe it worked fine on my ITX. That is having a 2080, and it runs a much slower CPU. It's like a Ryzen 7 or something. I can't remember. It's like something that was super cheap. It came with its own CPU fan. So the ones, if the CPU comes with its own CPU fan, you know it's a lower end one. So Ash is saying hi. John Payne, I hate that Unreal is Z up, but where to change the orientation on export from Houdini or import to Unreal? That is a good question. You can change it in so many different places. When you export it, you can just, the obvious one is just to throw down a transform node, but it's not the most elegant way. You can actually, there is one, oh, sorry, the wrong ROP. So many different ROPs too. Where are you? The character ROP is the one that you want to change. This will change it here too. This is the character ROP. So it has the axis system. Let me see if I can put a square around this. In the compatibility tab. So in this compatibility tab, the axis system, there's a Y up. If you switch this over to Unreal Engine, it will do the Z up. But then I tend not to do this because it checks off all these other things. This messes up. Okay, I can't say that. I usually try to export the rig with defaults. If it works, I don't touch it. Just because this process is so finicky. If the first time using the default settings doesn't work, then I turn on the Unreal Engine presets and I try it again. And then, like I said, there's also the scale inheritance you need to try out, because both softwares are implemented differently. They have their own scaling system, so it gets a little finicky. Actually, I know what we can do right now. We can try to export the tree rig, and I want to show you the wrong way of doing it and how I troubleshooted through that thing. It took literally, I almost went insane, because the tree rig is a lot more complicated in comparison to the banana rig. But the tree rig was actually a lot easier to do in Houdini because I used the L system. Oh, it's a little smaller too. Okay, I just made it bigger here. Let me turn off the template. Let me finish the comment. Flaming burrito, yeah, that threw me off too. Yeah, the axis it'll take some getting used to. Do you think it's worth learning C++ if I'm going to be working a lot in UE? Do you use it ever? Do you stick to blueprints? I am still learning Unreal Engine. So I'll let you know in a couple more weeks. I think it should be okay with blueprints. It depends on what type of game you want to make. If you want to make something really, really complicated, or maybe a platform, I don't think you'll need C++ for a platform, but don't quote me. It really depends on what type of game and the complexity of your game and how far you want to push it. And there's also different types of C++. It's a huge rabbit hole. There is the node system. Let's see, let's open up event graph. So you can actually create these nodes in C++. So that's sort of like a half, the best of both worlds. You can still use C++, but you don't have to implement everything. So that's really nice. You can implement certain functionality, like a certain, so it's like a wrangle. It's very much like a wrangle. But Houdini users, we get the benefit of having it all in one place. In here, you have to sort of open up Visual Studio, and it gets a little bit more complicated. You have to define your headers and set up your signatures. The signatures is the method names and syntax and all that stuff. In Houdini, we're kind of spoiled. We have, a wrangle. You can start right away. If you want to access something, just put the @ symbol. It's like that simple. We're a little spoiled with the wrangles. I actually forgot what I was doing. What was I doing? Oh, the tree animation, right. Hopefully that answers your question. Group calculate width. Oh, this was just make the tree look nice. Okay, let's focus on exporting this tree animation rig into Unreal Engine. So, like again, I use the joint capture by harmonic because this node is just so awesome. It's just one node and it just skins it for you. For this one is particularly easy to skin just because you have an L system. The L system already gives you a skeleton. It gives you points. This, and as we all know in KineFX, you can turn any point and lines into a skeleton. Like all you have to do is drop down a rig doctor. And that's what I did right here, a rig doctor, to turn it into a skeleton. Let me drop down a visualize rig so you can actually see some of the bones. Visualize. So this is actually turned in. So we have a rig right there. So that's the power of Houdini. Now we need to skin this geometry. Let me render it. Okay. So this geometry, we need to skin this tree geometry, which is given to us by the L system. I slapped on a poly wire. I mean, I made it a little fancy with the width so that it sort of tapers on the tips. So that's a little bit more, but you don't really have to have that. It can still look really nice. Like if I go here and I just remove this. Okay, so yeah, and lower this. It still looks really nice. Now let me undo that. Okay, there is one thing you need to really, really, really know. Why am I using the old-fashioned polywire? Because Labs has a polywire over here. So this one's a lot more, it's like an updated version. It's like a super powered version. It has way more features. It even comes out with the rig for you. So you don't really even need to rig docked or anything. Now, why don't I just use this? I actually did. Whatever this node is doing, like I didn't have time to go over this stuff. Whatever it was doing, Unreal Engine was okay. But I threw on bananas to make the rig even more complex. That's when Unreal Engine didn't like it. So I modified this rig tree. Whatever this polywire, this lab nodes polywire spits out, Unreal Engine was fine with. However, I modified it further to put bananas on the tree and to have the bananas sort of rotating with the tips. That's when things got really messed up. That is the reason why I'm not using this, and I'm using the plain old poly wire, and I had to build it from sort of scratch, I guess you can say. I find that doing it from this way, Unreal Engine didn't complain, and it actually did something right. Because all I was getting was this. No matter what scale inheritance I did, no matter what I did, doing this fixed a lot of issues. There were a number of issues. It wasn't just looking like this. It was sometimes it was only showing one banana, and sometimes no bananas, and sometimes just the tree. Like, there were a lot of issues. I wish I had the insight to save all those screenshots. But yeah, if you ever run into a situation like that and your rig is not turning out the way it should, try to avoid anything like labs and try to build it from top down as much as you can, and you'll find that it may work a little better. So why is this rig a little more complex? Well, the tree is not complex. It's just a skeleton skinned to the tree mesh. What makes it complex is these bananas. So I took every single tip. How do I find the tip? It's tip groups. Now, this is where the wrangle comes in handy. I'm going to make the points a little larger. So the tips are found by counting the neighbors. If the neighbor only has one neighbor, then it's a tip besides the bottom one. So you can see here that here I have neighbor count, and I'm going over every single point because this is run over points. Oh, so it's running over every single point, and it's going through the neighbor of every single point, and it's going and saying, okay, does this point have one neighbor? And is the position greater than 0? Because I don't want the base. This is also one neighbor as well. Like, the trunk is just connected to one thing. Here. This thing is connected to one dot. So it would count this as well. So that's why I need an extra condition. So you have to have one neighbor, and you have to be above the ground. If you satisfy both of these conditions, you are a tip. So then I set it to a tip group, and I also give it an attribute just in case. I don't know if I needed to use it. Then I come over here, and this is just getting the orientation. So this is just calculating what it was used to be called edge directions. It's just grabbing the direction, putting a direction on each of these tips, or each point, actually, every single point. We can actually view it. And here. Okay, by clicking that, it will create a marker here. But I think the marker is really small. Oh, it is. So you can see there's a line. I don't know if you can see that. It's a very faint line right here. And it goes up there. Oh, Flaming Burrito says, sorry, distracting. No, you're not distracting. I get sidetracked no matter what. It's good. You guys have good questions. I want the questions to keep coming. Otherwise I just yap all 2-3 hours not straight. This creates the normal, right? This creates the normal, which will define the direction of the banana. So I want the bananas to be placed reasonably within direction of each tip. So here I'm just blasting it because I'm going to obviously do a copy 2 points. This is naming the bananas, so it's not very necessary, but it's nice. It's nice to have right here, just because we're gonna skin the bananas. So I thought it would be useful to name it as well. Well, actually, it does come in use for the for loop later on. So I used the same trick for skinning the bananas as I did with the banana peels. I had to separate each peel one at a time and then rig it directly to a bone. This is even more simpler because each banana is not going to bend in the middle. It doesn't go that far. I only have one point, and if that one point rotates, it rotates the entire banana. So it's actually a capture packed geometry. It captures the entire geometry to one point. That's why I assume that's where the name comes from. Capture packed geometry. It's capturing the entire geometry. It also requires you to pack the geometry too. Okay, but here's the copy to point. So that's nothing special. There's the scaling. There is one thing, because my directions are all pointing upwards. I need to position the banana. Let me turn that off. Turn this off. I need to position the banana in something that I'll like. So what you can do, so if I don't have this, well, it still looks pretty good. Let me template the tree and then template the bananas. You can see the offset position is wrong. You can see that the banana is over, the head of the banana is over here and the tip of the tree is over here. Is an offset. And if we look at the original geometry of the banana before we copy it, this is why. This is not in the 0, 0 position. So what I did was just throw down a geometry, transform node, and just move it over here to the 0, 0 position. And the direction worked out nicely for me, only by coincidence. If the direction it's not facing, say your banana, say they were facing, I'm just going to throw down another transform node just in case I mess this up. Say it was facing like this. You did a copy transform and they're all facing upwards. What could happen? You can put transform and you can manually template your banana on the tree while adjusting the orientation, the initial orientation using a transform. So this is very handy. So you can see what you're actually doing. Template everything and then put the render flag on the transform. And you can adjust it in real time. Okay. And then, as I said before, it's going over for loop and it's isolating each banana one at a time and capturing. I got to get rid of all the templates. It's isolating each banana one at a time and it's capturing each one with the dot. Let me turn on the dot over here. So each one until you get all the dots connected, assigned to each banana. And here I do a little debug just to make sure it's working, probably a little test. Throw down a rig pose and clear this. Enter and just pick one and just rotate it. Okay, so this one works. This one works. Okay, but where's the rest of the tree? Where is the rest of the tree? Well, it doesn't really matter because as the most important part is that these dots or these joints came from that rigged tree. So this is where the rigged tree comes from, here, here. Okay, yep. Sorry, let me go here. So that's the rigged tree. And I'm sending this off over here. I isolate the tips, but these are still the same tips from that rig tree, and they all have names. See, so it has these names. These names are from that rigged tree names. These names. And then we use these points, these properly tree rigged joints, to skin the bananas. And if we look here, the bananas being skinned, let me get rid of the name. Okay. I need a bit more real estate. Banana capture point. So you can see that the banana name, banana capture, they're the weights are here. I think I renamed the name. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so don't rename it. Don't rename this name. I was a little curious why it was banana name. Okay, over here. Banana. So you can see bone capture region. Now it's properly linking the banana. Let me put a box around this. The banana name, which is each banana, is linked to the proper joint, which is the dots from the rig tree. As long as that exists, you don't really need the skeleton for it to work. So watch what happens when I throw down a bone deform node. Bone deform. Hook up the banana, and then I'm gonna go the skeleton. So where's the tree skeleton? Well, it's actually this one. I really should have named this properly. It's actually over here, because I do the skinning down here. So I'm gonna take this tree skeleton. I'm gonna hook it up here, and I need one more over here. Okay, we don't see the rest of the tree just because the rest of the tree is skinned over here. But I want to show you it's still working without the skinning. I mean, without the rest of the tree. So if I take this and I rotate it, the banana still works. So it understands it. If I take this and I rotate it, this works. All the bananas are following this hierarchy system because the bananas here are skinned to the tips of the tree. Okay, that's you might be wondering, okay, that's nice, that's handy, but how do I actually get the rest of the, I mean, this only has the banana meshes. How do I get the rest of the tree to combine with the bananas? Just merge it. As long as all Houdini relies on are just these bone capture attributes, as long as that is in there. So if we come back up here, this is where we rig the tree. So if we look at this tree mesh, okay, let's render it. This tree mesh has that important information, that bone capture information. So this one has the skinning information on it, and the bananas have its skinning information on it. Just combine it, and we just bone deform it using the same skeleton. So I'm going to take this, throw down a merge. I know this is a little messy. Banana weights, banana. So this is the banana plus the tree. And I did not change the skeleton. So I'm not going to change the skeleton. I'm just going to, it works. So everything's deforming. You can test it with a rig pose. So that's an important concept I want to get into your head. This will come in handy because then you can skin it separately and then combine everything into one and then shoot it out. Sorry, this has been a really, really long stream. Exporting to Houdini, Unreal Engine, this was a mess. I tried so many different ways. You can see my scale inheritance, everything here. So let's just try that. Okay. Okay, let's just overwrite this. Exports banana tree fbx. Fbx. Now this is using the presets. Actually, let me do it the wrong way first, because I think this will work. No, okay, let's fbx character. Oh. So you'll know how it looks like when it's imported improperly. So this is a fresh one. Banana tree rig. Here. Tree. Live. Take this. Oh, did I forgot plural again? Hip banana tree shop. Not that again. But it's just a warning. It should still work. Oh, did I forget the live? Oh, I forgot the live. Okay. Here we go. Okay. There it is. Okay, there it is. Tree rig. Click drag. Reset to defaults. Import. And I believe this should do something wrong. Now I'm gonna this will be the last thing I'm gonna show, just because this is a really long stream. Let's see. Well, this did something right. Okay. I was trying to do the wrong thing. Anyways, let's import the animation. So I know that won't work that easily. Tree waving. Okay, so all this has is a sine wave on, I think, a bend node. Let's see. Tree waving animation here. Yes, I put a bend node here, and using the IK, full body IK in KineFX to bend it left and right. So I'm pinning the base. The base is pinned permanently. It does not move. Then I'm choosing a few random points on the tips. I literally just manually just clicked some random points. And then the bend here just rotates it back and forth. And plug that all into a full body IK. And the full body IK will automatically do the animation for me. It will just figure out all the hard stuff. So I'm going to export that animation. So I have an object merge. All it is doing is just grabbing that, is pulling this animation over here. So it's a little more clean. So I don't have wires all over the place. Grab that, this animation. And I'm throwing FBX raw. So let's just do that. A clean one. FBX animation raw. Frame range, I'm gonna just do the whole range. Hit. Exports live. Banana tree wave. FBX. Okay. And defaults. So I'm not using the Unreal Engine preset. It's just defaults. Come over here. Let's go animations. Now that's what? Or is it? Oh, here. Wait. Click drag and remember to choose the tree. exported time. Okay, let's import it. Give it a second. Okay, this imported correctly. That did not happen before. But I was using Unreal Engine 5.3, so maybe that's why. Oh, well, that didn't prove my point. What I had to do, so this did not happen for me, not this easily. I wish it did. I guess they fixed it in 5.4. Dang. I stayed up all night trying to fix this. What really happened was this. It ended up being this, and it just kept on rocking back and forth. Could not figure out why. Like, I tried the scale inheritance and everything, and then it wasn't until I found someone said you have to put down this guy and then scale it back to the specified unit system, the centimeters, and then it would be the correct scale. Well, okay, I guess they fixed it. I guess it was an Unreal Engine issue because the 5.4 works now out of the box. Like, I didn't have this. I used a fresh FBX. So there you go. I guess that didn't prove my point. John Payne Mops has some great tools for copying points. Do you check it out? It can save a lot of time. It's also free. I have not checked it out yet. I should. I really should. It's a plugin. It's plugin for Houdini, I believe. It was created by the people from Enigma. Awesome people. Those guys are like wizards in Vex. They probably know a lot more than me in Vex. All right. I think I'm going to end it off here. If you guys have more ideas for me, do you like these? This was an incredibly long stream. The next one will probably be more exciting because now we know how to get a playable character working. The next one we can actually do something with the playable character. So this was a necessary step to build on. I know it was long. You really have to give yourself a pat on the back for whoever made it to the end of this stream. I don't know about you, but I'm tired, so kudos. Give yourself a huge pat on the back, a huge go get yourself a snack because you really deserve it. I know I do. I'm gonna get myself a snack right after this. I joined 5 minutes ago. Sure, you deserve it too. That counts too. But you might have to rewatch some stuff to understand what was going on. Hopefully this helps those of you that are new to Unreal Engine and trying to understand this whole system, this whole beast. Because for me, at the beginning, the first time I did it, it was quite overwhelming. It was like this, create a blueprint for that, create a blueprint for that, do this, blend space that. I was like, but after I did it like a second and third time, it started to make more sense. And then the jump action was more intuitive. It was something like, oh, okay, I understand why I need that there. I understand this. And hopefully this chart will make it less overwhelming and you can understand it the first time you do it. So Unreal Engine has a lot of blueprints. There's a blueprint for every single thing, and there's a reason for it because they're very organized. This is a very organized setup. It is a little overwhelming at the beginning because you have to set everything up, but just like any other software, that's how it is. Just make it through that learning hurdle. After you do, you'll enjoy everything else a lot more. So hopefully you like this. Are you going to have bananas as a snack? Probably not. I actually don't like sweets that much. I like salty things. But that's a nice idea. Maybe I'll go and get an orange. All right. I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for joining me.